What's up YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my top 5 most anticipated films for this year, 2025. I know it's April, I know a decent amount of films have already come out this year, but none of the films I'm super excited to see have come out yet, so I thought this was still an appropriate video to make. But before we jump into my top 5, I do have a few honorable mentions, and I'm just gonna jump right into it, so let's get started. First honorable mention I have is the live-action Lilo and Stitch. Now, when they first announced a live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, I wasn't really interested in it, but when they dropped the first trailer, I was actually smiling and laughing a little bit. It looked cute, funny, and fun, so I'm now interested in it. And I think the key with these Disney live-action remakes is you have to make it similar enough to the original movie, but also different enough. You have to have that balance between the two. And the live-action remakes that I feel have that balance are the ones that, I really enjoyed. So if this film can do that, can find that same balance, I think I'll really enjoy it. Next up we have F1. Now this is a film starring Brad Pitt, who is a retired racer because of some accident, I think, who's being brought on to train a new racer, I believe. Once again, not a film I was super interested in seeing until I found out that this is from the same director as Top Gun Maverick, Joseph Kosinski, who also did the story for Twisters. Knowing that he worked on both those films that I really enjoyed, I'm much more interested in seeing this one. And then we have Wicked for Good, the sequel to Wicked. Now, prior to seeing the Part 1 last year, I didn't see the Broadway show, never listened to any of the songs. Well, actually, I heard some of the songs when I was with my cousins because they loved it and would always sing the songs, but never really paid any attention to it or anything. It didn't really seem interesting. I read the whole plot on Wikipedia, and it was just so far removed from The Wizard of Oz that I wasn't really interested in seeing the film adaptation, but I actually ended up seeing it with my family last year, and I actually really enjoyed it, and I really liked some of the songs, so I'm interested in seeing what they do with Part 2 and to see if they can execute the second part in a way that I actually enjoy, because from reading the second act of the actual stage musical's plot, doesn't sound like stuff I'll be interested in because it changes the mythology of the Wizard of Oz too much. But I enjoyed the first one despite how little sense it makes that this is related to the original Wizard of Oz film. So maybe the second one can do the same thing, and hopefully it has some great songs as well. And for my last honorable mention, it is actually a season of TV, not a movie, but I'm beyond excited for it. So I thought I'd include it because I do want to talk about it, and I'm even more excited for it than some of the films in my top 5, and that is Wednesday Season 2. I adored Wednesday Season 1. I thought it was such a great concept, such a great exploration of the character of Wednesday Addams. She's really this blank face, kind of emotionless character, doesn't really like to deal with emotions. She gives off the impression that she likes to be alone and she doesn't care about anyone. But as we saw in Season 1, when it comes down to it, she really does care about people. And I just really loved how they brought out the emotion in Wednesday's character and showed that deep care for people in Season 1. I also thought it was a pretty good mystery, and I hope that's what Season 2 will be. I love mysteries, so I hope they can pull off another really good one next season. And the creators of the Wednesday show also created my favorite show of all time, Smallville. Hopefully you can see it up there, the complete Blu-ray series box set. Hopefully I'm pointing at it. But the creators, Alfred Goff and Miles Miller, did such a great job with Season 1, and I trust that they will do a great job with Season 2 as well. Alright, now with all my honorable mentions out of the way, let's jump into my top 5. Coming in number 5 is going to be Superman, the beginning of James Gunn's new DCU. I am a big superhero geek. I could talk about superheroes and superhero movies and TV shows all day long. Superman is my favorite superhero, and as I just said, Smallville is my favorite show of all time, and Superman and Lois is another one of my favorite shows of all time. Those shows just helped me to absolutely fall in love with the character of Superman. Those shows did a phenomenal job of making him likable and relatable and just an all-around great, nice guy who cares for people and wants to see justice done. And that's who Superman is. He's this pure, nice guy who inspires hope, who just wants to help people and make the world a better place. After watching those shows, I finally understood why so many people love the character, why he is the definitive superhero. But Smallville and Superman and Lois are kind of like, Smallville is a prequel Superman story. It's like before he becomes Superman, and Superman and Lois is about Superman much later in life when he's married and has kids. This film looks to be a modern Superman story when he's like just started his superhero career. It looks fun, looks lighthearted. I loved what James Gunn did with the MCU Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, so I trust him to tackle another superhero film. And another thing that gets me so excited for this film is that Nicholas Hoult is playing Lex Luthor, and he said that, you know, to prepare for the role, he watched Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor is the definition of perfect casting. Michael Rosenbaum is Lex Luthor, and I've always thought that if you ever want to play Lex Luthor, anyone who wants to play that character, you need to watch Michael Rosenbaum on Smallville, because that is how you play Lex Luthor. So if Nicholas Hoult is taking inspiration from him, that is a recipe for success. There are a few things I'm not so sure about this film, like there are a bunch of other heroes in it, like Guy Gardner, Hawk Girl, a Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, so I'm not sure why. Like, it feels kind of crowded to me a little bit. We also have Ultraman, potentially. Like, does that mean we're going multiverse? Like, for those of you who don't know, Ultraman is like an alternate evil version of Superman from another Earth, and he looks to be appearing in this film, so I don't exactly know what that means. I don't really like going multiverse so early on in this new cinematic universe. I'm not sure that's a very good idea. Feels like they're trying to compete with what Marvel's doing a little bit. But hopefully that is nothing to worry about. I'm sure this will be a fun film. And also, Krypto is going to be in this, and I'm a big dog person. I grew up with the animated Krypto the Superdog TV show, so I was super excited when we saw him in the trailers and the posters. So all of that, despite my concerns, gets me super excited for this new Superman film. Next up at number 4 is actually the Fantastic Four: First Steps. Now, I didn't grow up with a lot of Fantastic Four content. I mean, I saw them in a bunch of other Marvel shows that I watched, and a decent amount of those shows tackled the Galactus story, and the Fantastic Four were a part of it, but I never really saw a good modern piece of Fantastic Four media that like focused around Marvel's first family. I know we have the Four Stick film that came out a few years ago, and the early 2000s films, but I really have no interest in seeing those. I've heard they're bad. Everyone I talk to about them says they're bad, and I've seen some clips and they just look bad. But I am confident that the MCU can finally do these characters justice. It looks to be a very unique Marvel film that is set on a different Earth from the main MCU. It takes place in this retro futuristic timeline. I believe it's set in the 1960s, and the trailers that dropped, like, the look of this film is absolutely amazing. It looks so interesting, unique, and the cast here is just a great cast. I mean, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Backrack. They actually just dropped the official trailer a couple days ago from when I'm recording this, and they all absolutely look to be nailing their characters. I really hope they can finally do the Galactus storyline justice. I know I've heard about what they tried to do with the Galactus storyline in the early 2000s films, and it just sounded horrible. But from everything I've seen and heard so far, it sounds like there's nothing to be worried about. Really hope they can finally do these characters justice and give us a good modern piece of Fantastic Four media. Number 3 for me is going to be Thunderbolts. Now, I am super excited for this film. One, because Yelena is coming back in this film. Looks like she's going to be the main character. Florence Pugh's Yelena is tied with Kate Bishop, Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, for my new favorite MCU character. She's just so funny. She's such a great emotional actress. I just loved her character in both Black Widow and Hawkeye, so I'm excited to see her character back and to expand her story and to see where she goes in the MCU. And of course, we have Bucky back as one of the leads as well. Always great to see him in an MCU project. Really good character. I'm also interested in seeing what they do with the rest of the team. You know, Red Guardian, John Walker, or US Agent, Taskmaster, Ghost. I'm interested in seeing what they do with all these anti-heroes and villains, and I love stories about, you know, a bunch of outsiders and people who have made mistakes and done bad things coming together to find family and redemption. And this looks to be a story about, you know, not letting your past define you, being able to choose the good path despite what you've done and your doubts that you can do that. Those kind of stories really resonate with me because that's something I've struggled with. Can I pursue goodness and righteousness despite all the mistakes I've made in my past? So I am so looking forward to this film dropping in theaters in a couple weeks. Our runner-up at number 2 is going to be Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Potentially the final Mission Impossible film. If this is, I trust that they can wrap up this franchise wonderfully. Part 1 I thought was a great setup. It is one of the most fun films I've ever watched. Every time I watch it, 2.5 hours just flies by like that. I'm looking forward to see what crazy stunts Tom Cruise does in this film like he has all the others. It is just crazy the dedication he has to doing these crazy stunts every film. And I love his character of Ethan Hunt. I think he's a very interesting character because of the value he places on human life, you know, his unwillingness to let his teammates die, to let anyone die. He will do pretty much anything to save a life. And I love how the IMF team over the course of the previous few films has become like a family. Just seeing their care for each other over the past few films is just another thing that makes this franchise great. It is one of the most consistent film franchises out there. Not really a bad film in the franchise. 2 kind of stands out, but I still think it's watchable. I'm excited to see where Haley Atwell's character was introduced in the previous one, what happens with her character. From the trailers, this looks to be like a really potentially emotional film and just another edge-of-your-seat thrill ride. I am super excited to catch this in just a few weeks. And we've made it to number 1, and the film I am most excited for coming out this year is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. I absolutely adore mystery films. I think they are so much fun, and Knives Out absolutely blew me away when I saw it back in theaters in 2019, and it continues to blow me away every time I watch it, because every time I watch it, I pick up on something new, some clue in the beginning before the reveal that kind of gives you a hint as to what's really going on. Knives Out is not just my favorite mystery film of all time, it's one of my favorite films of all time. Definitely in the top 10. Also really enjoyed the sequel Glass Onion, not as good, but I still think another great fun modern murder mystery. And if Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig are both involved in making a 3rd film, sign me up. Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc has also become one of my favorite fictional characters. I just love his desire for justice and to expose the truth. Also love his southern drawl. I think it makes him so entertaining, such a great little part of his character. I cannot listen to the guy when he talks, especially at the end when he's giving his monologue of the reveal and everything. Just such a fun, charming character to watch that keeps you entertained. Once again, Rian Johnson has assembled a fantastic ensemble cast for this film. I mean, Jeremy Renner, Mila Kunis, Glenn Close, Thomas Hayden Church, Josh Brolin, Kaylee Spaney, Kerry Washington, Josh O'Connor, Dale McCormack, Andrew Scott. I haven't even heard of half of these actors, but if they've been cast in a Knives Out film, I trust they'll do a great job, and I'm confident that they are fantastic actors. I'm also super interested in finding out what Wake Up Dead Man means, because as we saw in the first 2 films, those titles were symbolic of something that had to do with the mystery, so I'm interested in seeing what the heck the title means. We don't even have a trailer or an official release date for this film. All we know is this fall, 2025, on Netflix, and I believe me and my friends are gonna do a watch party of that when the day it comes out. Super excited for that day to come and to finally watch and give my thoughts on this film. I trust that Rian Johnson, Daniel Craig, and this cast has concocted another great, fun, modern murder mystery film. If there was one film I could turn on my TV screen right now or go to the theater and watch, this would be the film that I would drop everything right now to go see. Cannot express how excited I am for this film. There you have it, my top 5 most anticipated films for 2025. Thank y'all for watching. Leave your most anticipated films for this year down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.